The day before the wedding, my mother caught my fiancé fooling around with my best friend and suffered a heart attack from the shock, requiring an immediate transplant. Fortunately, I had previously undergone compatibility testing with my mother. I decided to transplant my heart to her and use an artificial heart for myself. Faced with the exorbitant surgery fees, I begged my fiancé for help, but he claimed he didn't have enough cash on hand, only to later get married to Haley Reid behind my back. In my moment of desperation, Dr. Ethan Hayes appeared, settling all the bills for me and personally performing the surgery on us. When I woke up, Ethan Hayes regretfully informed me that my mother had suddenly developed rejection symptoms, causing the surgery to fail. She was gone forever. He embraced me, my eyes swollen from crying, confessing his feelings and begging me to let him take care of me for the rest of my life. 7 years into our marriage, I accidentally overheard his conversation with his brother. "So it was you who transplanted Ava Collins' heart into Haley, right in front of her mother? That's too cruel." "Can't be helped. Who made her heart a match for Haley's? Wasn't a suitable heart already secured back then? Haley just needed to wait half a day longer. Were you really in such a hurry?" Ethan Hayes sighed. "I can't bear to see Haley suffer, not even for a second." On the other side of the door in the study, Ethan Hayes exhaled a smoke ring, his tone unmistakably veiled. "Since I am bound by societal conventions and cannot marry her, then I must ensure Haley's safety for a lifetime." His brother, Mark Davis, looked at him with a complicated expression, but Ava has a rare blood type, making it extremely difficult to find a matching heart. Over the years, she's had to endure frequent bouts of coughing up blood and excruciating chest pain. She can't even bear children. Don't forget, her artificial heart only has 1 month of service life left. It must be replaced as soon as possible. Do you really want her to endure the agony of open heart surgeries for the rest of her life? Ava loves you so much. Give her heart back already. Besides, you prepared several spare donors for Haley long ago. Ethan Hayes refused without hesitation, his voice cutting sharp. "No, one more backup heart source means one more layer of safety for Haley's health. I would never gamble with Haley's safety." Mark grew frantic. "And what about Ava?" I can still remember the sight of her mother dying in despair, tears of blood streaming down her face. "Aren't you afraid Ava might risk her life against you once she learns the truth?" Ethan Hayes fell silent for a moment before chuckling self-deprecatingly. "If she truly wants my life, she can take it. After all, I was prepared to take care of her for a lifetime anyway. As long as Haley is happy, I would die without regret." The veins on the back of my hand, gripping the study door handle, bulged as uncontrollable tremors ran through it. After recording all this on my phone, before Ethan could notice me, I stumbled back to the bedroom in a daze and slumped onto the floor. Because my body couldn't fully adjust to the artificial heart, I grew increasingly frail and had to endure frequent bouts of coughing up blood and sharp chest pains. Back then, Ethan Hayes told me that a heart transplant had to come from a living donor, and since my mother had passed away, he could no longer return her heart to my body. I thought it didn't matter. At least my heart could always stay with mother. No wonder when I wanted to see my mother one last time, Ethan Hayes insisted on arranging her funeral for me, claiming I was too weak after surgery to leave my bed. Turns out what I thought was redemption and deep affection was just an altar set up by the devil. He never performed surgery on my mother at all. Both my mother and I were merely sacrificial offerings presented by Ethan Hayes to his beloved. To keep me from suspecting, he even pushed my mother into the operating room first, forcing her to watch helplessly as her own daughter's heart was placed into someone else's body, until she died in tears of blood. Even without a heart, the pain in my chest was unbearable as I spat out a mouthful of blood. "Eva?" Ethan Hayes had appeared out of nowhere. Seeing me coughing up blood again, he quickly carried me to bed, wiping the blood from my lips with heartbreaking tenderness. "I'm sorry, Eva. I failed to take proper care of you, but rest assured, I've arranged the best artificial heart for you. It'll be replaced in a few days." His eyes were slightly red with guilt, just like his reaction every time he saw me in pain before. I thought he pitied me, so I pretended to be strong and reassured him it was nothing. Looking back now, it was utterly foolish. "Ethan, I've endured so much pain these years. Can I stop using the artificial heart? Haven't you already prepared several backup heart sources for Haley? So can you give my heart back to me now?" Ethan Hayes paused for just a second before smiling and patting my head as he said, "Ava, don't talk nonsense. You don't have a suitable heart donor, and without an artificial heart, do you expect me to just watch you die? You might as well kill me first, don't I?" But the heart beating in Haley's chest is mine. The blood in my body ran cold, and I forced a weak smile. "You're right, I was being foolish." Using the excuse of drawing Ethan Hayes a bath, I poured an entire bottle of sleeping aromatherapy oil into the tub. Not long after he returned, he fell into a deep slumber, perhaps dreaming of the one he'd longed for day and night. He even began murmuring in his sleep, "Haley, I'll protect you no matter what, even if it costs me my life." As I gazed at this husband I'd loved with all my heart for 7 years, my tears finally broke free and slid silently down my cheeks. I called my friend Sophia Rossi, a doctor who had just returned from volunteering in Africa. "I'd like you to perform a surgery for me." "Yes, I'm certain. See you in 3 days." What's so frightening about death? Living a life worse than death is the real agony. Putting down my phone, I stealthily picked up Ethan Hayes' mobile and went to the study. As expected, the password was Haley's birthday. I never knew Ethan Hayes had a private Instagram account. Probably forgot to switch back. The avatar shows 2 artistic fonts, "Loving Haley." Such a straightforward yet simple affection. Clicking into his updates reveals nothing but photos of Haley. Every accompanying caption a testament to Ethan Hayes' concealed yet unabashed love. First day at the Hayes household, met Haley, suddenly understood the meaning of heartache. Haley got married, and I'm so jealous I could go mad. I want to tuck her inside my body, make her mine and mine alone. I had Ava 3 times today. I know her body couldn't take it, but I couldn't help it. I missed Haley so much. All I could do was cry out Haley's name in my heart, over and over, as if the woman beneath me could somehow become her. In addition, there were all the luxurious jewelry and designer bags he had given to Haley. He even bought a heart-shaped island overseas in Haley's name. All these years, the only thing Ethan Hayes ever gave me was that artificial heart, which brought me endless torment and suffering. While I was plunged into inconsolable grief over my mother's death, enduring the torment of coughing up blood, Haley was already basking beautifully in the sun on the soft sand of some tropical island. My hand holding the phone trembled uncontrollably as waves of nausea churned through my internal organs, sending me doubling over to retch dryly beside myself. My accidental brush against the bookshelf knocked a volume loose. Only when I picked it up did I realize it was a box cleverly disguised as a book. Inside lay several voluntary heart donation certificates and stacks of remittance slips. Ethan Hayes sent large monthly payments to the families of those donors, supporting them. There was only one condition: they must not donate their hearts to anyone else. Whenever Haley needed one, they had to be ready to offer their heart. And the final document of proof was mine, but the donation recipient had changed from Mom to Haley. At the time, Ethan Hayes made me sign a lot of documents, claiming they were necessary procedures. My mind was solely focused on getting Mom's surgery done as quickly as possible, so I didn't have the chance to read them carefully. This certificate was probably slipped in during that time, while Mom's was likely destroyed long ago. "Ethan Hayes, for Haley's sake, you really went to great lengths." I sat desolately on the sofa after printing out the divorce papers. With a heart full of sorrow, I lay awake all night. The next day, Ethan Hayes simply assumed I had woken early and didn't suspect a thing. Perhaps noticing I had coughed up blood again the night before, he thoughtfully prepared a nutrient-balanced breakfast himself, setting out an entire spread. When he saw I hadn't touched a bite, he asked with concern, "Ava, why aren't you eating? Are you feeling unwell?" "Nothing, I just miss Mom," he sighed. "Ava, don't say that. Even I think about Mom all the time, how kind and gentle she was. It's all my fault for not being able to save her back then. I still remember Mom holding my hand, telling us to be happy. If my mom still had the strength to lift her hand, she'd probably want nothing more than to strangle him." Watching his insincere act, I felt a surge of bitter irony. I was just about to bring up the divorce when Ethan Hayes casually remarked, "Ava, you've been in a low mood for a while now. Today Haley is returning to the country, and it's her birthday too. The family is throwing a party. Why don't we go liven things up a bit? Maybe it'll cheer you up. I know because of what happened with Mom, you've always avoided seeing her, but so many years have passed. Haley didn't mean to hurt anyone. After all, we're family. She's been sensitive since childhood. If we don't go, I'm afraid she'll be heartbroken." So this was his real intention today. All that wasted breath just to go see the one he loves. I cut him off, "As you wish." Ethan Hayes chuckled. "I always knew my Eva is the most sensible one." No sooner had we entered the family estate than I saw Haley, dressed like a noble princess, clinging to Ethan's mother's arm while acting coquettishly. Ethan's mother chuckled indulgently, letting her carry on while feeding her pieces of cut fruit. Utterly spoiled, Haley spotted me at once and said to Ethan's mother in a mocking tone, "Grandma, you've made everyone fat with your feeding. Now that Auntie is here, I don't like these last few pieces anyway. You should give them to her. After all, she doesn't have a mother." Ethan's mother caught sight of me too, giving me a once-over. Noticing my shabby clothes, she flashed a disdainful look. "Who told you to come here, you sickly thing? Do you want to pass your bad luck on to the rest of us? The Hayes family is a lineage of medical professionals, yet you wander around dressed like some vagrant. You've completely disgraced my son. Years into this marriage, and you still haven't produced a child. Did that wretched mother of yours teach you nothing about decency?" Ethan Hayes wasn't Haley's biological uncle, but rather her stepmother's child from a previous relationship. She feared her stepson would be overlooked and had long wished for Ethan Hayes to marry a wife of equal status, someone who could offer him support. Later, when Haley's father died in a car accident, Ethan Hayes, through his own abilities, became the widely praised golden surgeon and earned his grandfather's approval, who entrusted him with the family's entire business. Ethan's mother only reluctantly agreed to Ethan Hayes marrying me by holding her nose, but because my physical condition wasn't suitable for pregnancy, she who longed to hold a grandchild increasingly viewed me with disfavor. In the past, Ethan Hayes would still speak up for me occasionally, but now his eyes were filled with Haley, overflowing with unconcealed longing. Haley bounced up to him, intimately looping her arm through his while cooing playfully. "Uncle Ethan, did you bring Haley any presents?" Ethan Hayes dotingly pinched her cheek. Of course, 28 exquisite haute couture gowns were wheeled in, each accompanied by an equally luxurious matched set of jewelry. 28, it was Haley's birthday. She gleefully planted a kiss on Ethan Hayes' cheek. "Wow, Uncle Ethan, you spoil me the most. These jewelry pieces are all limited editions. You really went all out. Won't certain people get upset about it?" Ethan Hayes just then remembered I was still beside him. My shabby clothes looked even more out of place compared to these elegant gowns. For all these years, Ethan Hayes never once remembered my birthday, let alone gifted me any luxurious dresses or jewelry. Looking somewhat embarrassed, he took my hand and attempted to explain. "Ava, don't overthink it. I'm Haley's uncle. Haley suddenly clutched her chest and furrowed her brows, saying, "Uncle, I feel a sudden tightness in my chest. I don't know if my heart condition is acting up again." Ethan Hayes immediately let go of me and turned to embrace her, his face filled with urgency. "How come you suddenly feel chest discomfort? Does it hurt?" "No, I must check on you right away." With that, he picked Haley up in a bridal carry in front of all the relatives and strode upstairs without looking back. The guests were all looking at me with mocking eyes. No wonder Ethan would rather buy so many gowns and jewels for Haley than give her even one. A woman of such low birth isn't worthy of being our Hayes family's daughter-in-law, let alone deserving of fine things. If it weren't for Ethan being constrained by his uncle-niece relationship with Haley, why would he marry her? Who knows, maybe back then she used her own mother's death to blackmail Ethan into marrying her. Shameless thing, stepping on her own mother's bones just to marry into wealth. The murmurs grew louder, and Ethan's mother, feeling humiliated, scolded me. "Disgraceful creature, what are you still standing here for? Get the hell upstairs. Haven't you embarrassed our family enough? My son doing surgery for your dead mother was her good fortune. Her own incompetence killed her. What's that got to do with my son? Ungrateful as you are, you even have the nerve to extort us. You'll get your retribution sooner or later." My fists clenched tight beneath my sleeves, and I gave a weak smile. Yes, meeting Ethan Hayes, that was my greatest retribution. Remembering the divorce papers in my bag, I said nothing and turned to head upstairs in search of Ethan Hayes, only to bump into him embracing Haley on the second-floor balcony. Haley leaned against the railing, wrapping her arms around Ethan Hayes' neck. "Ethan, listen quickly. Is Haley's chest still pounding?" "Haley, we can't." Ethan Hayes struggled to keep his voice steady, but his tailored trousers betrayed him. Haley pressed her lips against his, cooing seductively, "Don't you want Haley? I know there's only Haley in your heart, and Haley has you in hers too. Even if societal expectations force you to marry another, your body must belong to me. Let's just indulge this once." Ethan Hayes could no longer hold back. He cupped Haley's head with his hand and kissed her passionately. The sound of fabric tearing mingled with shameless moans. As I listened to Ethan Hayes' sickeningly sweet declarations of love, tears poured from my eyes. Covering my mouth, I ran out of the villa. I don't know how long I sat at the entrance, but a bowl of scalding instant noodles was suddenly splashed onto my chest, startling me with the burning pain. Haley had somehow changed her clothes and appeared carrying a bottle of whiskey. "Eva Collins, did our moans sound pleasant just now? Your disheveled figure running away truly looked like a dog." So she had seen me after all. "I heard your body rejects the artificial heart. Must be painful coughing up blood and suffering chest pains every day, isn't it? Can't even enjoy a man's affection properly. Unlike me, I can handle even the wildest positions without issue. You might be trash, but your heart works perfectly fine." I felt wonderful just now, daring to marry my uncle, trying to steal his affection? Don't dream, his heart belongs only to me. You're just the disposable container that carried my heart for a while. Actually, that wasn't the first time your mother caught me with your fiancé. That old hag actually dared call me shameless, so I made sure to tie her up and have sex with your fiancé right in front of her. It gave her a heart attack, and when you tried to get her a new heart, I pretended to have chest pains. Your uncle couldn't wait a second before giving me yours instead. Oh, right. You were unconscious then, so you probably missed your mother's expression. She reached out with arms stretched so long, eyes bulging so wide, she wanted to strangle us so badly, but alas, all she could do was watch as she choked to death on her rage. Serves her right for calling me names. Insult me, and I'll take her life. My eyes widened in disbelief. I never could have imagined this was the truth behind my mother's heart attack. My body trembled uncontrollably. How could these people, after killing my mother, still act so utterly unrepentant? I raised my hand high, but Haley promptly poured the whiskey in her hands over her own head and let out a piercing scream. The next second, I was forcefully shoved to the ground. Ethan Hayes held Haley in his arms and turned to shout at me, "Ava Collins, what the hell are you doing?" Haley sobbed and said, "Uncle Ethan, I just saw that Aunt Ava hadn't eaten, so I wanted to bring her some food and drinks. But she accused me of causing her mother's death, threw the food, and poured alcohol on me. If you'd come any later, she would have killed me. The wine and instant noodles just now were prepared by my own hands. I know they're not luxurious ingredients, but they're all my sincere feelings. I even burned my hand with hot water." Ethan Hayes' face instantly darkened. "Ava Collins, your mother's heart attack was due to her own fragile nerves. She shouldn't have meddled in her children's affairs. It's perfectly normal for people to change their minds before marriage. Haley was worried you hadn't eaten, and instead of appreciating her concern, how could you place all the blame on her?" I listened in disbelief to these outrageous words coming from him. "Ethan Hayes, tell me the truth. How did my mother really die? Did you actually give her my heart?" Ethan Hayes furrowed his brows. "Of course, didn't I tell you? Your mother had a rejection reaction after the surgery. Heart transplants always carry risks. Don't you even have such basic common sense? And now you're betraying Haley's sincerity too? Apologize to Haley right now." I suddenly laughed, tears streaming down my face. This was the man I'd loved for 7 years. He wouldn't even give me the truth. Like a masochist, I picked up the toppled whiskey bottle nearby. Ignoring its shattered neck, I gulped down the remaining liquor, letting the broken glass slice my lips apart. As the burning alcohol scorched my throat, the violent pain in my chest made me sway unsteadily on my feet. Ethan Hayes suddenly widened his eyes and shouted anxiously, "Ava, your body can't handle alcohol. Stop it now." I threw the bottle onto the ground and smiled at him. "Ethan Hayes, you're absolutely right. How could I let someone's sincere feelings go to waste? So I drank your sweetheart's heartfelt wish. Are you satisfied now?" With that, I turned and left without hesitation. Ethan Hayes tried to grab me, but Haley quickly pulled him back. "Uncle, Haley's chest hurts again. Could it be from the fright Auntie gave her just now?" Ethan Hayes watched my retreating figure, hesitated for a few seconds, but ultimately didn't follow. That night, Ethan Hayes did not return. As for me, I gathered all my belongings together and burned them to ashes. It wasn't until the next day that they called me, "Ava, I was wrong yesterday. I know Mom's death is your deepest wound, and I shouldn't have said those things. But Haley has a weak heart. I'm afraid something might happen to her. I wouldn't be able to explain it to her mother or her in-laws. As her uncle, it's my duty to take care of her." I said calmly, "It's fine. I acted impulsively today. You take good care of her. You drank yesterday. Your chest must be hurting badly. I'll replace your artificial heart tomorrow. Rest well tonight. I'll come pick you up tomorrow morning." "All right." But the next morning, Ethan Hayes did not return. Just as well, not all goodbyes require a face-to-face encounter anyway. I placed the divorce papers on the table and walked out. When I reached the hospital entrance, Ethan Hayes called, his voice apologetic. "Sorry Ava, there's an emergency patient who needs immediate surgery. I'll have to perform the operation first. Let's reschedule your artificial heart replacement for tonight. I'll send my assistant to pick you up. Tomorrow's our 7th wedding anniversary. After the procedure, I'll take you out for a nice meal." A perfectly legitimate reason, ideal for telling lies. Ethan Hayes didn't know that Haley had already texted me moments ago. Because yesterday I had spilled wine on one of her dresses, Ethan Hayes was now taking her to a jewelry auction to compensate, preparing to bid on that finale piece for her. The one-of-a-kind pink diamond necklace that's truly unique in the world. This was the first time he remembered our wedding anniversary, yet he was spending it accompanying another woman. "Good. I actually wanted to give you a gift too." "Really? I'm so looking forward to it." Putting down the phone, I took one last look at the azure sky before walking into the hospital without turning back. Goodbye, Ethan Hayes. Meanwhile, after successfully securing the necklace for Haley, Ethan Hayes took her out for a candlelit dinner before rushing with her to the hospital. Only upon arriving did they realize Ava Collins hadn't shown up yet. He glanced at the time, midnight. Why hasn't Ava arrived yet? Just as he was about to call to ask, his assistant came running over with a box. "Mr. Hayes, there was no one at Mrs. Hayes' house. This was just delivered. Said it's a gift from her to you." Ethan Hayes smiled wryly. "So Ava was preparing a gift for me? She always loves these little surprises." He knew that Ava must be hiding around the corner of the hallway at this very moment, just as she had done all these years, secretly turning on her phone's camera, ready to capture his surprised expression when opening the gift. The thought of her sneaky yet irresistibly piquing adorable appearance suddenly melted Ethan Hayes' heart into a puddle. I was so harsh with Ava that day, and today I arrived so late, yet she isn't angry at all. Ethan Hayes signaled his assistant to open the box, resolving that whatever was inside, he would act absolutely delighted. He simply couldn't let Ava down. The next second, the box was opened. The moment he saw what was inside, Ethan Hayes' face turned deathly pale. There were no flowers inside, let alone suitable gifts for men like ties or watches. There was only a single fist-sized piece of silver metal, oddly shaped, resembling a component from some machine. Yet Ethan Hayes trembled as he held it up, as though cradling the life of someone he dearly cherished. No one could have known better what that was than he did. He was the one who had placed it inside Eva Collins' body with his own hands all those years ago. Out of personal habit, he left a tiny H engraved on it. That was the artificial heart that should have been in Eva Collins' chest. Because of his movement, a small slip of paper fell out from between the metal crevices. Ethan Hayes quickly picked it up. It was Eva Collins' handwriting. "Ethan Hayes, you are no longer in my heart." Ethan Hayes' mind exploded with shock. He wasn't seeing things. This was indeed Ava's artificial heart. But why was it retrieved early? And what about Ava? Where is she now? Eva Collins was too frail to work, let alone afford the exorbitant cost of an artificial heart replacement. If she hadn't been replaced, wouldn't Ava now be already? Ethan Hayes dared not think further. The mere possibility of it left him breathless with agony. Even his assistant could tell something was off with him, yet Haley remained oblivious. She didn't recognize the artificial heart, because she simply had no need for one, staring contemptuously at the object in Ethan Hayes' hand. "Ava Collins, honestly, what kind of rubbish is she sending you? After marrying you all these years, she must have secretly pocketed plenty of money, right? Yet she couldn't even bother to give you a decent gift. What a miserly wretch, hoarding every penny for herself. We came all the way here in the middle of the night to perform surgery for her, and she can't even be bothered to show up. She's gotten way too spoiled. Let's go, Uncle. She deserves the pain if it kills her. Who cares about this worthless junk anyway?" With those words, she slapped the item from Ethan Hayes' hand onto the floor, then reached out to grab his arm. To her astonishment, Ethan Hayes, who had always treated her with tender gentleness, suddenly shoved her away, roaring like a madman. "Shut up. Do you even know what that is? That's Eva's artificial heart. Without it, Eva will die." He scrambled to pick up the artificial heart. Haley was stunned by his shout, and when she came to her senses, she pouted in frustration. "You didn't even know. Why are you being so mean? What if you mistook him for someone else, Uncle? I don't believe Eva Collins would commit suicide at all. Maybe she faked it to deceive Uncle on purpose, just to gain your sympathy. How hypocritical. Uncle, I understand this kind of woman schemes best. She's just jealous of all the gifts you've given me and deliberately used this to scare you. Doesn't she realize that her marrying you was already an incredible blessing? How dare she aspire to anything more? She should know her place." At her reminder, Ethan Hayes' gaze fell on the pink diamond necklace around her neck, and the scene from that night at the manor suddenly flashed through his mind. Ava wore no jewelry at all, standing there in a t-shirt and jeans amid the gowns he had given to Haley, enduring everyone's ridicule. And him? He'd been busy on the balcony with Haley. An uncontrollable ache gripped Ethan's heart. He had never given Ava anything. But why did even Haley have to mock her like this, when outsiders were already bullying Ava? He had always viewed Haley as a pure and innocent little white flower, someone he felt compelled to protect. But now, he realized he was wrong. Ethan Hayes glared coldly at Haley. "After all these years of marriage with Ava, I know exactly who she is. Unlike you, she never demanded my money, let alone stooped to such methods. Haley, you call Ava auntie to her face, feigning concern, yet behind her back, you speak of her like this. The true hypocrite is you. Only now do I realize that the person I truly love is Ava. I've done all I can for you. From now on, there's only the relationship of uncle and niece between us. I'm going to find Ava now. You can go back by yourself. Don't ever let me hear those words again. Don't forget whose heart is beating in your chest." With that, he turned and left. Haley wanted to repeat her old trick, clutching her chest and claiming discomfort, but Ethan Hayes never looked back. He ran home like a madman. After all that Haley had said, there was only one thing Ethan Hayes desperately hoped was true. Ava was just playing a joke on him, and he would see her waiting for him when he got home. Unfortunately, it was all just wishful thinking on his part. Everything of Eva's was gone, leaving behind only a signed divorce agreement for him, and the donation certificate hidden in his safe. It was also the beginning of his deception that sent her into hell. Besides this, Ava Collins left him a USB drive. Inside were 2 video clips. The first was a recording of his conversation with Mark that night. The second was footage of him fooling around with Haley on the balcony. Ethan Hayes turned ghostly pale as he trembled and called Mark Davis. "Help me check if Ava had any surgeries at any hospitals today?" "What surgery? Didn't you replace her artificial heart today?" Ethan Hayes frantically grabbed his hair, his voice filled with anguish. Ava didn't come. She found out about what happened back then. She had someone remove the artificial heart from her body and send it to me. Mark, I'm really scared. Please help me look into this. Mark remained silent for a long time before sighing. Ethan, the last time I heard you say you were afraid was when Haley was diagnosed with heart disease. How did it turn into Ava Collins now? If she's not giving you trouble and chose to leave this way, shouldn't you feel relieved? So why are you afraid now? Admit it, you've fallen in love with her. I told you before, Haley isn't as innocent as you thought. Otherwise, how could she steal someone else's boyfriend? She wouldn't even wait half a day, forcing you to give her Ava Collins' heart instead. And you just let her lead you by the nose. I'll do my best to help you investigate, but you'd better brace yourself. Because if I were Ava Collins and knew all this, I wouldn't want to see you again, whether in life or after death. Putting down the phone, Ethan Hayes stared at the empty room, feeling hollow inside. He looked at the divorce papers, covered his face, and wept bitterly. A few days later, I woke up in an unfamiliar room. Before me was the worried face of my friend Sophia, still streaked with tear marks. Seeing I was awake, she burst into tears of joy. Darling, you're finally awake. I was starting to think my skills were inadequate and the surgery had failed. Noticing my questioning look, she quickly added, you guessed right. That bastard Ethan Hayes did send people to investigate. But don't worry, I got you out before they could find you. We're in a small town now, miles away from the city. He'll never locate us. Just rest easy. I sighed. Why bother saving me? It's not like there's any difference between me living and being dead anyway. Sophia cried again. Eva, I can't help it. Your sister here only knows how to save lives, not take them. Do you know why I came back to the country? It's because I found a heart donor that matches you. Otherwise, who in their right mind would agree to perform your surgery? You better live well, or Auntie will be heartbroken when she finds out. The one who deserves to die is that bastard Hayes. Sophia took me to meet the donor's mother, who showed me a photo of the donor. She was an 8-year-old girl named Lily. Whether by coincidence or not, her delicate features bore some resemblance to her mother's childhood appearance. And my mother's name also contains the character Lee. Because of a car accident, she became a vegetative state, but a few days ago, she briefly regained consciousness and told her mother, Mom, I've been lying here for too long. I want to leave now. Please donate my heart to someone in need. Let them live well and see the richness of the world for me. After speaking, she lost consciousness again. Though heartbroken, her mother couldn't bear to see her daughter suffer any longer and thus followed her final wishes by donating her heart. Perhaps this was also a continuation of the daughter's life. I stared silently at that photograph so reminiscent of her mother for a long while, tears slipping down. Was it her? Had she come back? Several more months passed, and I had recovered remarkably well. Back then, Sophia chose to volunteer in Africa over staying as a medical professor in China, often losing contact with the world. She always regretted that if she had received the message in time and rushed back, Ethan Hayes wouldn't have needed to perform surgery on me and Mom. I comforted her, saying maybe it was fate, especially since Mom's condition couldn't wait at the time. Now that her volunteer term has ended, Sophia wants to settle down in the country. She said although this small town has beautiful scenery, its medical standards are backward, and she wants to stay here to do something for the local residents. Lily's mother is also a local and runs an art studio where she teaches painting. Upon learning that I majored in painting in college, she asked if I'd be interested in joining, and I didn't refuse. My health improved day by day, and my mood grew increasingly peaceful. In our free time, Sophia, Lily's mother, and I would gather to eat and chat. Everything from the past felt like a dream, only the scar on my chest reminding me that it had all been real. Just as I was enjoying my peaceful life, Ethan Hayes back home was frantically searching for me. Because Sophia had deliberately instructed them, the hospital didn't disclose my surgery to Mark. These days, he refused to go to the hospital or even leave the house, drowning himself in alcohol at home all day. No matter how much his mother called, pleading through tears for him to pull himself together, he wouldn't respond, until he spotted a familiar figure in a travel news notification on his phone. Ethan Hayes' eyes sparkled with wild joy as he stood up to leave, only to run into Haley at the door. Seeing his unkempt, unshaven appearance, Haley advised, Uncle, you still haven't found Ava, your wife? After searching for so long, maybe she really is dead. Why must you torment yourself like this? There are plenty of women in this world who care about you, like me. Shut your mouth. Ava isn't dead, you fool. I just care about you. Ethan Hayes suddenly grabbed her by the throat, his expression more terrifying than ever. Care about me? If you cared, would you have done those things that made me lose Ava? Uncle, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Ethan Hayes scoffed coldly, still pretending in front of me. Are you? I've checked the Manor surveillance. It was you who framed Ava on purpose. It was you who faked that heart attack years ago to trick me into immediately performing the transplant surgery, all to get back at her mother. Fine, I was fooled. I admit I was stupid, but what did Ava ever do to deserve this? She's already lost her mother and endured all the suffering from her artificial heart. Why did you have to tell her how her mother looked before death? Why deliberately provoke her, driving her to resolve herself to die? Unbeknownst to Haley, Ethan Hayes had uncovered the truth. Flustered, she attempted to justify herself. Uncle, I didn't mean to. I was just afraid that with Ava Collins in your life, you wouldn't care for me anymore. I care about you too much. Ava and I were married for 7 years. In all those years, haven't I cared for you enough? So much that it even surpassed what I gave to Ava. Haley, stop lying. What you care about isn't me. It's how I can feed your vanity. Ava never fought for anything, so why do you have to push her to the edge? If you hate her that much, then there's no need for you to keep using her heart anymore. Haley suddenly felt a pang of fear. She clutched her chest, stammering, what do you mean? Ethan Hayes smiled unnervingly. I mean, it's time you returned Ava's heart to her. That way, she might just forgive me. Haley was terrified but nervously chuckled, trying to appear calm. Oh, okay. Once I switch to another heart, I'll return this one to Auntie. Ethan Hayes, however, took out a scalpel and shook his head gently. No, I have to find Ava now. I can't bear to keep her waiting, not even a second. The boomerang from years ago had finally come back to strike her. Haley was terrified and turned to run, but Ethan Hayes severed her Achilles tendon. Be good, Haley, don't you care about me? If you care, then help me win Ava back. Before long, screams from Haley echoed through the villa. After finishing a day's work at the studio, Sophia called. She said the weather was getting warmer, and since she happened to be free tonight, she invited me for a walk by the sea. I just hadn't expected to see Ethan Hayes again. His face lit up with surprise. Ava, is that really you? I thought I was seeing things. Ava, I've missed you so much. Ethan Hayes was holding a brown medical cooler in his hand. Inside seemed to be something that gave off the faint scent of disinfectant. Noticing my wary gaze, he eagerly held out the case like presenting a treasure. Eva, look, I've retrieved your heart for you. While it's still viable, let me perform the surgery, okay? You'll never have to suffer with that artificial heart again. My heart? But what about Haley? Did he find another cardiac donor? No need. Sophia already found me a matching heart and performed the surgery. Just leave. I don't want to see you anymore. And I don't want anything that's been inside Haley's body either. Donate it to someone who needs it, I replied flatly. Ethan Hayes looked somewhat stunned, probably not expecting this outcome. He probably thought that just by returning the heart, I could forgive him. Like a mother hen protecting her chick, Sophia pulled me behind her and began shouting at Ethan Hayes. Bastard, we haven't even made you pay with your life for what you did to Ava's mother, and you dare show your face first? Ava wants nothing to do with you now. Get lost. The word struck a nerve with Ethan Hayes, who set the box down on the ground and tried to step toward me, but upon seeing me retreat, he froze in place. There was a time when for every single step he took toward me, I'd run 99 steps in his direction. Ethan Hayes' eyes brimmed with heartache and regret. I apologize for what happened with your mother, but I was deceived by Haley. I didn't know her chest pain was fate. Ava, your mother has passed away. Let me take care of you, alright? I'll love you more than she ever did. I'll treat you better than anyone ever could. Finally, I took a step toward him. Sophia stared at me in shock but ultimately didn't stop me, merely sighing in resignation. Ethan Hayes looked at me with hopeful joy. Ava, does this mean you're willing to give me a chance? Don't worry, I'll definitely make you happy. Slap. I struck him across the face, cutting his words short. Ethan Hayes, how dare you mention my mother in front of me? She could have survived, but you snatched away her chance to live. You even forced her to witness her own daughter being cut open and having her heart ripped out for that woman who stole her daughter's fiancé. And after all this, you still had the audacity to marry me? You, who pushed me into hell and took away my mother. What right do you have to claim you'd love me more than she did? Ethan Hayes wept with guilt. Ava, I'm sorry, truly sorry. I'm willing to spend my whole life making it up to you. Just don't leave me. I replied coldly. Ethan Hayes, how pathetic can you be? Do you really think I could bear to live with you after learning everything? Do you think my mother would approve? If her spirit in the afterlife knew, she'd only wish for your early death. Of course, so do I. The only reason I haven't pulled a knife on you is that I think serving jail time for someone like you isn't worth it. And as for your blood, even a single drop splashing on me would be too filthy to bear. Ethan Hayes froze instantly, his face turning pale. If you truly want to atone for your sins, go where you should go and do what you should do, instead of coming here to disgust me. Lastly, I'll only say this once, stay away from me. With that, I took Sophia's hand and left without looking back. Ethan Hayes stood by the seaside for a long time, not leaving until the sky grew bright. Rumor has it that he had just returned to the city when the police took him away. Someone passing by his villa had noticed a large amount of blood under the door and reported it to the authorities. The police discovered Haley's body in his home. Ethan Hayes was sentenced to death for intentional homicide and the theft of human organs. And my heart, still viable, was was donated to someone in need. Just a few days later, I saw in the news that the former president of the Hayes Group had died on the spot in prison after stabbing his heart with a sharpened pair of chopsticks. Additionally, he had also bitten through his own tendons. It's simply unimaginable what kind of courage and determination that would require. Only I know that he was apologizing to me. Unfortunately, I will never forgive him. Completed.